Hi, welcome back to Take a Knee with Mike and JD. I'm JD,
And I'm Mike.
and today we're going to be talking about Week 1 of the NFL football season and then doing a couple of picks for Week 2. So I guess right off the bat, the headline of Week 1 is that even though Aaron Rodgers is no longer on the Green Bay Packers, he still finds way to fuck the Green Bay Packers over.
Exactly, and I mean that in the most respectful way because even though, I've made it quite clear that I've stopped being a real fan of Rodgers a while ago, I never wish injury on a player. And, you have to start to think at his age, the kind of recovery that an Achilles is, it could potentially not just be season and it could be career ending. But that was my my first thought, which I said to you when it happened, was like, "Fuck, there goes our first, still fucking us over." Um, that's obviously not very nice, but yeah, I mean, you gotta feel for Jets fans. Like, I don't know if you watch the Rich Eisen show. I really quite enjoy his show, but all this preseason he's been so excited because and he was just like, this is just so typical life as a Jets fan. Like, finally look like we have something to be excited about, and in 4 snaps it's all taken away from us. So
Uh-huh.
pretty rough.
I missed it live, and I was like, oh, I want to see what the injury was because I just saw like a headline come up on my phone, and I put into YouTube, Jets Bills, and I clicked on the first one, not realizing it was the Jets YouTube page. So they showed
Mm.
like one play of, I think, Hall taking it like 40 yards, and I was like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is at quarterback. And then it jumps like 10 more minutes into the first quarter, and Wilson's in. And so the Jets didn't show his injury in their highlights. They cut
Yeah.
that out. They didn't show it.
Well, that's and see, I like watching it live. Like I missed the like the first, I don't know, 15 or whatever. So when I turned it on, I saw the Jets were like, because I was keen on watching the game, more so hoping that Rodgers didn't go well. But I turned it on. I'm like, what the fuck? Why is Zach Wilson at quarterback? And thinking, well, obviously Rodgers has been hurt, but I didn't think it would have been that amount of hurt. So
Yeah, well, even though the week didn't end very well for you, I guess, in the sense that that pick doesn't move up, Jordan Love still looked pretty good in his first role as like the guy in Green Bay.
he did. I was really impressed with what I saw. I mean, I don't think the Chicago defense was, as good as other ones that will come up against. But like, you can only play with what's in front of you, and the whole time he looked poised. He made right decisions. There was a couple of overthrows. He missed like Musgrave on what would have been a walk-in touchdown, but like,
Yeah.
like that stuff's going to happen. I mean, that stuff happens with. I mean, you look at the game, for instance, Josh Allen had. I mean, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the game, and even that kind of stuff happens. Like, he, and what I loved is that he clearly is willing and capable of running Matt LaFleur's offense. You know what I mean? It's based on getting the ball out quickly, which is what Love does, which is kind of the antithesis of what Rodgers would do. And I didn't see one hero ball on like 3rd and 2,
No, no, right.
so that was already an improvement.
Yeah, the couple of plays that I did watch, I thought Jordan Love looked kind of like the fourth year rookie that he is. He did. I guess that's the one thing that the guy had going for him, is that he did have a while under the same coach to learn this system. So
Yep.
he just had inconsistent play the last couple of years. Like Rodgers might have been hurt, or they needed him to come in for a couple of series. So it was
Mm,
never, he wasn't getting 60 minutes of football in. And so to
mm,
watch him, yeah, that overthrow was bad. The guy's wide open for walking touchdown, but he made some really great throws the rest of the game. It was nearly the exact opposite of the game Kenny Pickett had. Now, Kenny Pickett was playing the best defense in the NFL. I mean, the 49ers defense is absolutely crazy. But there were a couple of throws where he was pressured, he was on his back foot, he threw it, it was bad. His first interception, I think it was Johnson, fell down and the guy picked it. It might have still been a pick, but it could have been more contested. But there were a lot of throws Pickett had where he was stepping up in the pocket, driving into these throws, and just throwing it behind people, throwing it into the ground. He looked really rattled. They didn't have a first down until sometime in the second quarter. It was really, really bad. And people said that, these guys were open, and they were. And if Pickett hit some of these guys, they might have had a chance in the game, because just like last year for the first couple of weeks, they were leaving the defense out to dry. The defense was out there all first half. They had no time to take a break, because the offense would be out for 3 plays and they would punt and they'd have to go back on the field. The 49ers would take 12 plays, drain the clock, exhaust them, score, and then they basically have the kickoff and 3 offensive plays to rest. So it's not great when your defense is out there the entire game. Even though the Steelers have a pretty good defense, even if that was the 49ers defense and they were out there that long, they would crack like the Steelers defense was. So it was kind of disappointing to see how well Kenny Pickett's preseason when he was making all these throws, and then for him to come out like that in the first and second quarter and just look like crap. I didn't love the play calls, and there was I think it was a third down. They were in the red zone, and all 4 receivers just did fly routes towards the end zone. There was no post. There was nothing. It was just bizarre sometimes, some of these play calls. So I think Canada, our offensive coordinator, and I think Pickett had a really bad game. I have more faith in Pickett being better next week than I have with Canada. I think in his 32 game, or what was it? They failed to score more than 20 points, like 20-some games under him as offensive coordinator, which is insane to do. So I don't know how he continues to keep his job, but it was a really shitty day to watch that, because they really got the shit kicked out of him on Sunday.
Yep. Yeah. But before we get into the kind of the quick wrap up of all the games, like, it's important for everyone to remember, but you especially, given with how they went, to not overreact either positively or negatively to week 1. Like, week 1 is fucking crazy.
Right. There were a lot of games where, like, the Patriots, they played the Eagles pretty well. They came back, they played really well. They got a fumble on Jalen Hurts late in the fourth quarter. They had their chance to win. Like, a lot of these games were really fun to watch. And besides, like Houston-Baltimore wasn't that great. Baltimore kind of controlled the whole game. But Cleveland came out. Cincinnati didn't score a touchdown all game. Like, that is crazy to think Cincinnati only got 3 points. So you look at that game. It's kind of the perfect game the way the Steelers' season is. Cincinnati just lost, 24-3. But nobody's really panicking for Cincinnati. The Steelers are 0-1, and they looked bad. But there's kind of no place to go but up, really. So it does suck that they're playing Cleveland, who just beat the crap out of Cincinnati. But it is Pittsburgh, Cleveland, so they do seem to play Cleveland pretty well. My entire life under Ben Roethlisberger, he was like 20-1 or something. Like, he beat the crap out of the Browns, but we don't have Big Ben anymore. So, but this week, you are right. Not to overreact, but it wasn't great. You would like to have seen a little bit more than what you got, but I just think he was completely rattled, and he was making throws that he shouldn't have, or trying to fit balls in where he really should have just relaxed in the pocket. But we'll see. If he comes out and plays terrible in week 2, then I think we can start to have a discussion that he's a bad quarterback.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Yeah. So that was week 1. As you can see, I'm very enthused for this week.
You sound right up for it.
Well, here's the thing. My work day on Monday won't be ruined because they don't play till Monday night. So I'm able to go into... I won't feel bad Sunday night like I did this week, I can listen to the radio and watch TV on Monday because they don't play, and the highlights won't be till Tuesday. So, all right. So we're going into week 2 here. Starts tomorrow. The first game here is Minnesota at Philadelphia. So how do you think this one's going?
Look, I'm going to go Philadelphia. I didn't think Minnesota looked overly good, and How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Philly. They didn't end the game great against New England. They were up in New England, but they're home. Even though it's a short week, I still think that they're a better team than Minnesota. So I will take Philly in this one. I mean, they couldn't beat Tampa Bay, Minnesota. So I don't really think that they should have a chance against Philadelphia on the road. So
No, agreed. All right, so next up we've got Green Bay at Atlanta.
Green Bay. If Jordan Love continues to play like he did, I think Green Bay has a pretty good shot to win this game. Atlanta beat Carolina. It wasn't two powerhouses going at each other, but if Jordan Love plays like he did against Chicago, they should go into Atlanta and beat them pretty easily.
Yep, I agree, and that's not just not a homer pick. I just think all Jordan Love needs to do this whole season is exactly what he did, and they'll win more games than because look, the Green Bay defense looks good, and you've got. I mean, it sounds like Jones is out for maybe 2 weeks with that hamstring. I haven't heard full confirmation on that, but you've got enough around him to just get it done. You know what I mean? So yeah, Green Bay for me.
All right. The next game after that is the Las Vegas Raiders at the Buffalo Bills.
I'm going the Bills. I think they bounced back. I'm still quite shocked that they lost to the Jets. But I put that down to week 1 and three interceptions thrown by Josh Allen. I mean, what the fuck? So yes.
Yeah. I agree. Las Vegas was able to beat Denver, and it seems like the stigma around Denver will continue now. We thought that they would beat a pretty bad Las Vegas team, and they didn't. But I don't think, Buffalo is Denver. I think they're better than Denver. So Buffalo should be playing at home. Josh Allen probably doesn't make those same mistakes, and they should win pretty easily. So I'm going Buffalo as well.
Next up, we've got Baltimore at Cincinnati.
This is a tough one because I was actually thinking about it today. The last couple of years under Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals have kind of started slow. They'll be like 3-4 or 3-3, and then all of a sudden they'll rattle off like 8 straight wins. So they don't seem to play very well in the beginning of the season, whereas Baltimore usually does. It would be crazy to me that Cincinnati goes 0-2, but I feel like Baltimore can go in and win this game, so I'm going to take Baltimore on the road.
I'm taking Baltimore as well.
All right. So the next game is the Kings of the NFC North. The Detroit Lions are hosting the Seattle Seahawks.
Look, I'm going to take the Lions. I do think that win against the Chiefs is somewhat deceiving. No Chris Jones, no Travis Kelce. That they're a big part of what they do respectively on offense and defense. So I don't, but I do think the Lions played well. So I am going to take them here against the Seahawks.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe the Seahawks went to Detroit last year, and it was like a 45-42 style game. It was a crazy affair. I didn't think the Seahawks looked that great last week, and Detroit obviously did, but I just feel like they're up and ready to play anybody. So I will also take Detroit this week.
So next up we have Indianapolis at Houston.
I'm gonna take Indy. They played Jacksonville pretty well last week and lost. Houston kind of got the crap beat out of them against Baltimore. So even though they're on the road, I will take Indianapolis in this game.
Until proven otherwise, I cannot tip the Texans against pretty much anyone. So the Colts for me.
Okay. All right. So the next game is, and this should be a good one. I'll be interested to watch this one. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I think this will be a good game as well. But I am going the Chiefs. I think they bounced back. Chris Jones signed his 1 year extension, so I assume he'll be back in. Is Kelsey back as well? Have you been across that?
I think he was still questionable. I don't know if that would really tip the game. I mean, they did seem to miss him last game, but this one's a hard one for me to pick because I feel like Jacksonville can definitely win this game.
See, I think even if Kelsey's not back, I'm still going to go the Chiefs because outside of that, I don't think the rest of the players could drop that much ball again. I don't think it is possible. Like some of the wide open to your chest balls that were just clear drops. Surely,
that's true.
Law of averages says no.
There were a lot, and I forgot about that. There were a lot of those drops last week were game winners that they dropped basically. So
exactly,
my gut wanted me to go Jacksonville, but if Patrick Mahomes still makes those throws, they got to catch him sometime. So I will also go to Kansas City.
Next up, we got Chicago at Tampa Bay.
Tampa went in and beat Minnesota, and Chicago didn't look great. Fields had a few things going for him, but I am going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to pick Chicago winning on the road in Tampa Bay.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I am going to take the home team.
All right.
I am not a Justin Fields believer.
Well, he usually has one of those good games at the beginning of the year because I think they beat the 49ers. Now, it wasn't a monsoon, but they beat the 49ers last year early on in the season. Now, Tampa Bay is not the 49ers, but I have that feeling in my knee, you know what I mean? I think Chicago's going to go in and beat Tampa, so I might regret that, but we'll see. So the next game is the Los Angeles Chargers at the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers. I don't have any strong feelings either way, but I think they get up.
Yeah, they lost a really close and good game to Miami, and Tennessee lost to New Orleans. It was a close game, but it was low scoring. Tennessee, again, looks like they're in this bad limbo where they're not terrible, they're not really good. So I think Los Angeles can go in there. The Dolphins are able to keep up with LA offensively, where I don't think that the Titans can keep up offensively with the Chargers. So I think the Chargers should have a pretty easy time going in and winning.
New York Giants at Arizona.
The Giants. They laid an egg Sunday night, but Arizona is not good either. So I'm gonna pick the Giants.
Yep, yeah, the same reasoning as you. I don't like the Giants didn't cover himself in glory, but Arizona aren't good. So,
all right, next we have the San Francisco 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams.
It's going to be hard to pick against the 49ers with the way they look so far this year. They were pretty dominant, so I can't think many teams at the moment I'll tip against them at. So 49ers for me.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams did beat Seattle, and Seattle, I think, are a good team, but if San Francisco can continue to just drive the ball on offense and keep their defense off the field, they should have a pretty easy time winning every game. So I will go San Fran as well.
Next up, we've got the other New York team, the Rodgerless Jets at Dallas.
I feel like the Jets were up to play Monday night after Rodgers went down, and I think they were able to use I don't want to say it was momentum losing Rodgers, but I think that it was kind of that effect on the sideline, I feel like, where they were like, oh, he's out, everybody's got to step up and play pretty well. Also, the defense did help out a lot. Wilson didn't look great. But at home, I think Dallas should have a pretty easy time beating the Jets. I don't really have any faith in Zach Wilson, and I have a lot more faith in Dallas at home. So Dallas.
Look, I'm taking Dallas as well. Dallas played really well. I mean, I think the Jets' defense is really good. I've got no faith in Zach Wilson, and I think a lot of what happened for the Jets to beat the Bills was, to do with game script and scenario. I think the team were right up. They've had all this kind of preseason hype around Rodgers going there. Most of them believe that it's just a matter of waiting for the Super Bowl to win it. Like that's what they believed when Rodgers was there. They've had hard knocks, so I think they'll right up. And even though they lost Rodgers so early, when you're already that up, I don't think you'll lose that. And I think it's almost a bit of a rally around, like do it
Right.
for our fallen teammate. And I think also, and I heard this on one of the podcasts. I think it was the Williamson and Peacock podcast, where like they think a lot of what happened to Josh Allen is that all of a sudden, like there's all this kind of expectation and the pressure that comes from that. Like you've come into this game thinking you're facing off against a future Hall of Fame quarterback. And you're up for that, then all of a sudden he's gone and you're playing, and all of a sudden that puts more pressure on, like, okay, it's gone from, it should be a back and forth to I'm now playing Zach Wilson, like we should flog them, and that puts more pressure on. So I do wonder if that's part of it as well. So summing up my ramble there, I am taking Dallas.
Yeah. It's the thing. It was like, I think they both have pretty okay defenses, but Dallas has the much better offense. So, and they're the home team, so they should be more comfortable.
Yep. Next up, we've got Washington at Denver.
I am gonna go and say Washington on the road. They looked pretty okay, or not even pretty okay. They looked pretty good against Arizona, and Denver just continues to struggle. So, I'm not going to fall into last year's trap and continue to pick Denver for like the first 7 weeks of the season because you think, okay, it's Russell Wilson, he'll get out of it, yada, 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 yada. I'm going to pick Washington to beat Denver on the road.
Yep, and much the same reasoning as you. Like, Denver still look bad. I thought they'd be much better this year. I thought second year with Russell Wilson, but they still look bad, so can't tip them.
All right. So our next one is our Sunday night primetime game is the Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots.
I'm going to take the Dolphins. I think they looked pretty good last week. I know. I think the Patriots definitely have a ceiling. So Miami for me.
Yeah, the Patriots were in that game against the Eagles because of some bad plays by Hurts in the second half and also a badly timed fumble on a scramble by him. Miami, their defense didn't look great, but they obviously were scoring points. So it feels like a trap to me. I kind of want to take the Patriots just because you kind of can't bet against Bill Belichick sometimes, where he still got his team up to play against Super Bowl favorite Eagles. But I will also go Miami on this one.
And finishing us up is Cleveland at your boys, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So I'm gonna take the Steelers, and it's because the defense looked good when the offense drove. So when they had time to rest and not relax, but catch a breather, they played a lot better. TJ Watt still was great. I mean, he was finally healthy. He had 3 sacks. I think he had 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery. He was a menace against a pretty good 49ers offensive line. And so we did lose Cam Hayward, but we have some young depth pieces that should be able to step up. I think Brock Purdy's better than Deshaun Watson right now. It would just be weird to me for the Steelers to lose 2 games at home back-to-back to start the season. And I think Kenny Pickett will play a lot better than what he did. Now, he does have Myles Garrett coming down on him, but I feel like this is a team that he's used to playing, and the Steelers are used to playing, that they kind of have more of a scouting on this team. So I will pick the Steelers. I think it should be a pretty good game. I'm picking like a 24-21 game. I think like a last-minute field goal might win it, but I'm going to take the Steelers.
I'm going to take the Steelers as well. I think they bounced back somewhat. I mean, they would have been pretty embarrassed by last game, and it's the Browns. So,
so just to recap, so last week I was 9-7 and Mike was 6-10. So somebody had some bad picks last week. So if you're betting based off of what Mike says, you should probably double check that I also agreed. So.
Well, as always, next week.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and leaving a comment down below how you think the week is going to go. Thank you. I hope you guys have a nice day.
Thanks, guys.